Okay, so today I've got something a little different planned for this weekend's adventure. It's gonna be pretty cool, but a little different than the normal like hike and adventure. I mean, still adventuring, but not hiking. I'm just finishing up my work day here, and so I'm gonna get going here in the next probably like 30 minutes to an hour. Fortunately, I am leaving the Audi behind today and taking the sleeker rig here because I'm worried about gas mileage. No, of course, the real reason I'm taking my truck today, I'll be attempting to do some dirt bike camping. Another nice part about taking my truck and my dirt bike is I've got about every tool imaginable in here, besides for the one I'm going to end up needing, of course, but cross that bridge when we come to it. So there's this certain place I really want to get to because I was here like a few months ago with my uncle, and there's this really big mountain that we tried going up with his ATV, and we got up it a ways and we decided to turn back around because it was getting dark. Now here's the problem. I don't know exactly where it's at. The road we took to get to the trail wasn't bad, and now I have found myself in this. And it hasn't been bad thus far, but I think that's about to change right here. I don't know what I was worried about. The Isuzu's fucking got it. No, I think I got too far deep in here. There's a creek crossing right here. I think I can do that. But then on Google Maps, it looks like the trail gets pretty hairy again a couple miles down this. And I wouldn't really be that worried, except for I'm super wide. I'm not super worried about clearance, but I'm also a little worried about my tires because these rocks out here on these trails are absolutely brutal to tires. So I just thought I had a flat tire, and I about flipped out. I don't know if this is a whole lot better than a flat tire, because I'm risking like 2 flat tires here. I got a rock, a big ass rock stuck in between my dualies, and it is jammed in there very tight. My one thing I have going for me is I'm in my work truck and I've got a hammer drill. Whew! I just got the last piece out of there, and luckily the sidewall and everything looks good. And man, I'm glad I did that in like 30 minutes or something. I wasn't sure. Some of these things like this, it's like you can do it pretty quick or it's just an all-day ordeal, and I thought this was going to be one of those. Phew! Okay, we made it somewhere. I don't really exactly know. It's on the trail that I want to be on, which is this one right here with all the cows. It's a little farther down than I was wanting to get to. I was wanting to be a little closer to where all those red rocks are. But that's there's some private property you have to drive through to get there, and probably could have driven through it, no big deal, but figured I'd just stop here, which is just like a couple miles back from there anyway. And we're back. Fortunately, I didn't get quite as much riding in as I wanted to, since the sun's already sinking down. The rock in my tire kind of slowed down my riding, or limited my riding time for today. Okay, everything is put away here, and we're starting on some food. I love doing this so much, having all this behind me, out here by myself, back of my truck, cooking some food over a fire. Well, not really fire. Can't actually have a fire, but can have a burner. Tonight we're having some gourmet mac and cheese that was sitting at the bottom of my wet cooler, so the box is kind of just disintegrating, but I don't think that'll affect the tasted the macaroni. It probably already tastes a little bit like cardboard. Okay, we made it back to the dirt biking spot here, and we're actually going to make it up the hill today now that we got enough daylight to do it. It's kind of cool. All these hot air balloons behind me are close enough you can actually hear throttling up the flame. Okay, so probably made it 2 or 3 miles by now, following this road called Powerline Road, which is makes sense because there's just power lines all the way down it. Now, I've been on this trail before, and at the very far end that way, you climb up this mountain here, and you've either got to know a gate code to get up there or have a small enough vehicle to get through like their gate system or whatever. So I'm either gonna try to go up there or maybe get over to these, because there's a huge alcove over there which looks pretty cool, but I'm not sure that there's any trails going over there, so probably have to leave my bike and walk, and that would kind of suck because I didn't bring my hiking shoes. I'm just in my boots. Okay, here's the start of it. This is where I got to last time in the ATV with my uncle, but we didn't have the permit, so we couldn't open this gate. But now we're gonna fit through there and go all the way up to the top there. It's a long freaking ways. I've made it probably close to halfway up. Let me tell you, this trail is not for the weak. Oh my God. There's like, this is like the best part of the trail there's been so far. The rest of it has just been like rocks that sized. Just the whole, it's like a dry creek bed. But holy smokes, this view is incredible from up here. Woo! Still got a ways to climb yet, but that's pretty neat. Okay, that might be one of the sketchiest trails I've ever done on a dirt bike. So I'm on the back side of the mountain now. It's like the exposure's not terrible, but for how bad the trail is, the exposure is pretty gnarly. And I wanted to stop and get some video, which I will do on the way back down, because if I stopped on the way up, it would have been more difficult to get going again. But this is insane up here. It is crazy how much elevation gain you get coming up here. I mean, this is one of the highest points around. What's even more crazy is the freaking linemen that have to come up to service these things. I don't know what vehicles they take up here. I wouldn't think they could bring a whole lineman truck, but I guess they'd have to at some point. But that is some impressive driving. And those red rocks down there, oh man, I want to go check those out, but I don't think there's any trails going close to them. I'm just taking a minute sitting on this rock here to soak in this view, because this is just incredible here. I'm assuming that's another trail down there that goes through this canyon. I might try to check that out, but this is wild. Okay, I think this is gonna be probably my final stopping point. Had to take in the view one last time here before I start going down. It's just all switchbacks all the way down here. But it's kind of cool. I'll open up the other side here so you can see everywhere. I'll take you over to the edge here and show you kind of the trail if you can see it on the way up. Yeah, so obviously right here, switchbacks all the way down. You can see the trail, and it's a long ways. I don't know if you can see my box truck from here, but it'll be like over here, I think. Something like that. But man, this is incredible. I'm thankful for the switchbacks, obviously, because this is incredibly steep, but the switchbacks kind of suck whenever it's just straight boulders on every single one. Whew, okay, I found this trail. It's behind me, you can barely tell. Obviously it's not been ridden in quite a while, but I ended up in this place. There's a little pond there and a man-made structure of some kind. I'm assuming that was a dam at one point. I don't know, I'm gonna go look at it, but there's a newer but old culvert there. And it's just kind of a tucked away little valley back in here, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna go up there and hike around and see what that's about. No freaking way. Look what I found back up in here. Found a freaking rock house. That's awesome. I had no idea this was back here. Wow, this is a really cool spot for one too. Unfortunately, with it being so easy to get to, there's people who draw shit on the walls, because was not done by natives, I don't believe. My boots are so loud. It almost looks like they had a pretty decent floor in here. Like, I don't know if they laid down these. This is like, I mean, it's a pretty nice floor if it wasn't so dirty. So I'm not exactly sure what this whole structure is. Obviously wasn't done by an indigenous tribe. I don't think anyway.
I found out later by talking to some people on the trail that this dam was built by farmers in the 1920s.
But I'm assuming it had to have just held back water in this part at one particular spot in time. Curiosity got the best of me, and now I'm up on top of where I was. My bike's somewhere down there. I don't really know. Let me tell you, climbing, rock climbing in dirt bike boots, it's actually not that bad because they're so like narrow toed at the end. You actually stick your foot in some pretty good places. A little sketchy, not too bad. Anyway, I was standing down there and I was looking up here and I was like, I could have sworn I saw like a black spot, like a square black spot on a rock up here, rock face. And I can't really tell if it's anything or not, but I was almost wondering if it was like a granary, like a food storage kind of implement for natives. So walking over here, I was thinking about going and getting my hiking boots from my truck, but it's not that far of a hike. So I'm just gonna hike up here, at least get close and see if it is anything, and then report back. So I don't know if you can really see on camera. It's right here. It's like a perfectly square hole. And so I'm thinking the only thing it can be is something man-made. Okay, you gotta admit, from a ways away, this square rectangular hole could definitely look man-made. I mean, some very precise symmetry for nature. There's a lot of these little hideouts in here. Probably some animals living up in here. I don't regret coming up here because if I wouldn't have, I would have been thinking about this all the rest of the day at least. Probably would have came back at some point to check it out. Another really cool part about springtime is all the flowers are blooming. Like, these are some really pretty ones. There's another really big one down here. Man, as much as I love hiking, dirt biking's really hard to beat because you can just explore so much area in such a short period of time compared to hiking. But the good thing about hiking is that you can actually like walk up into the areas because you're limited to the trail. With dirt biking, especially in the desert, whenever you've got such a fragile ecosystem, you can't just be running over bushes and the cryptobiotic soil and whatnot. Okay, I figured I better record these corrals on my way back through because I knew a couple people who watch my videos would be disappointed if I didn't. So here's the trail I came up on. Like, again, there's something just made a noise over here. The one nice part about wearing these boots hiking around is that no snakes can bite me, at least from the knee down. But anyway, yeah, come up on the trail here. It goes up around and whatever. Oh, this was kind of cool. You ride through these posts. And then I was wanting to check out this area, the actual cattle chute. Yeah, this is pretty neat. I actually grew up on a ranch, and there's quite a few corrals around the house I grew up at that look similar to this. I don't know exactly what date it is, but I did actually end up talking to somebody later on the trail that told me that dam that we went and saw earlier was from the 20s, built by some ranchers. So I'm assuming all of this is probably also around the 1920s construction. Wow, check out this view. I didn't think this trail was gonna have much of a view to offer, but I was wrong. This is an awesome view here. So that power line hill would be like on the other side of this peak right here, but I think just a little bit higher than this peak, just for some reference. Well, I think that's gonna conclude it for this trip. It's like 2 in the afternoon now. I've been riding since 7 o'clock this morning, something like that. I know, I gotta see everything. Actually, I did about every single trail there is on like this half of where I'm at, which is a fair amount. So I didn't really want to drive my truck to the other side to do any of those trails, because those trails are the more popular ones, so they'd be pretty crowded right now. And honestly, I don't think that they're as cool as these ones over here, and these ones over here are just a little bit more challenging, which is probably why there's not as many people over here. I don't know what happened to me at the end. I think mainly just me getting tired, but I had like 2 crashes that they weren't bad, but I just shouldn't have had them, and I actually ended up denting my exhaust right there on one of them. And I was really scared that it was gonna like pinch it and I wasn't gonna be able to start my bike, but luckily the bike runs just fine, so I guess I'm not gonna worry about it right now. So I'm gonna get everything loaded up here and start the drive home.